Hello everyone! It's the end of July, so it's time for the July wrap-up. If you go just by the number of books that I read in July, it wasn't very productive. But when you consider what one of those books was, it was actually pretty successful. The first book that I finished was You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, a memoir by Sherman Alexie. This just came out recently and I put it on hold at the library right away so that I could read it because I really love Sherman Alexie's writing. I've read nearly every book that he's written, and it's a memoir about him and his mother, and I'm always really interested in stories about mothers and children. And of course I really enjoyed this book. I rated it 5 stars and I would really recommend it to anyone. Sherman is both a prose writer and a poet, and he combines both of those in this book. And some of the poems read more like prose, and some of the prose reads more like a poem, and it's just done really beautifully. During the middle of his recent book tour, he actually had to cancel his remaining appearances because talking about this book again and discussing it made essentially his mother's ghost haunt him mentally, even though he doesn't consider himself a religious person. So that might give you some clue as to how moving some of the parts of this book are, and it was a really valuable experience. The next book that I finished was The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh, which is the first book in a very popular YA series that is based off of the Arabian Nights. And it was very hyped up when it first came out, and I was really intrigued to read it, and I've had it as an ebook for a year or two, and honestly it was a little bit of a letdown. It had the same kind of tone and writing style as many other YA books that I have read and not necessarily enjoyed. It was overly descriptive, and the plot I found a little unoriginal once you take it away from the setting and overall premise. And I don't believe I will be continuing on with this series. It just really wasn't for me, but I can see why people who love YA and read a lot of YA fantasy and romance would really love this book. I ended up rating it 3 stars. And the last book that I finished in July, I keep forgetting what month it is and wanting to say June or May, but the last book that I finished in July was The Brontes, which is this big hunk of a book right here. This is the 4th book in my project for reading big books this year. And it's the 2nd one that originated from my own shelves rather than being a borrowed book. At the beginning of July, I was 20% done with the book, and I really wanted to finish it in July, but didn't think that was gonna happen because the beginning was taking really a long time to finish. But I plugged through it, and I will talk about it more in a separate video because I'm going to make a Bronte collection video and review this book more thoroughly there. Overall, I did enjoy it, and I'm glad that I read it, and I rated it 4 stars. Maybe it's really more like a 3.5, and I really do love the story of the Brontes and their writings and how they came to be and the tragedy that was their lives, or rather the ending of their lives earlier than ideal. And I definitely feel accomplished for having finished this huge book. And I finished it several days before the end of July, so I've already started reading a new book, and it has really made me want to reread everything the Brontes ever wrote, essentially. And next year, 2018, will be the 200th birthday of Emily Bronte, the author of my favorite book, Wuthering Heights. So I will probably be reading that one in 2018. So those were the only 3 books that I read, or finished at least, in July. Not very many, but definitely a lot of pages altogether. And pretty good when you consider how much time I have spent playing Stardew Valley. And before I go, I do just want to mention, you've probably noticed, I'm filming with a new camera and microphone setup. Basically, I'm just using my iPhone 7 because I have recently acquired an iPhone 7 and I've been really frustrated lately with the audio on my videos because the editing software I use really likes to add little glitches where it will mess up the audio for a second. And I tried to fix it and it hasn't really improved it much. And another big issue actually is that my old camera would overheat after a certain amount of time, and that was a really big obstacle to filming more than one video in a day, and therefore an obstacle to making consistent videos. So I'm hoping that this will work better. I did a little test video and it seemed to work all right. So let me know how it is, if it's tolerable at least. And hopefully this will be a good solution to putting out videos more regularly, which I want to do, but have been hampered in the past by my camera. So that is all for this video. Make sure to stay tuned for my Bronte collection video and further review of the Brontes by Juliet Barker. And as always, thank you for watching. Bye.